This astronaut is investigating an anomaly in space, but unbeknownst to him, he is about to approach the very beginning of the universe. Astronaut Jakub of the European Space Program wakes up in his spacecraft and prepares for a virtual press conference. It is revealed that he has made the longest journey in human history, lasting 189 days, and is currently residing right on the outskirts of planet Jupiter. He has embarked on this solo mission because a mysterious gas cloud has appeared in the solar system, which has been named the Chopra Cloud. His job is to collect samples from the cloud for analysis. They have no idea what the cloud is and where it has come from. During the conference, Jakub takes some questions from people around the world, and one high school girl mentions that people call him the loneliest man in the world. Commissioner Tuma rephrases the question in order to avoid bad press. She also adds that Jakub gets to speak to his wife, Lenka, all the time through a device called the Czech Connect, which is an incredibly high-speed communication system. There is a noticeable change in Jakub's expression at the mention of Lenka. After the conference, Jakub speaks to Peter from Mission Control and asks him to get an approval for a toilet repair because it is making a jarring noise that's not letting him sleep. Peter says that he'll speak to the engineering department about it, but at the moment, the broken cameras on the spacecraft take precedence over everything else. Jakub is frustrated. He asks if anyone from Mission Control has heard from Lenka lately because she hasn't been answering his calls. Peter says he'll ask around. It is revealed that Mission Control does have a message from Lenka, but it is a heartbreaking one. She has decided to divorce Jakub. Leaving a message with Mission Control while your husband is 500 million miles away, and I thought a breakup email was bad. Peter tells Tuma that Jakub is under a lot of pressure, and Tuma decides that they cannot let this message reach him. She tells Peter to make up some excuse for Lenka's absence. Meanwhile, Jakub keeps trying to reach Lenka via the Czech Connect, but she refuses to take his calls. It is revealed that she is pregnant. Next, Jakub is trying to sleep when the toilet malfunctioning noises wake him up. He looks at himself in the mirror and notices something crawling under his skin. He starts freaking out. The strange being first sticks its leg out from his nose and then arrives in his throat. Jakub starts screaming, but all of this is revealed to be a nightmare. Next, Jakub works on fixing the cameras, but to no avail. Afterward, he tries calling Lenka and the call is picked up, but instead of Lenka, he hears a man's voice. Panicking, he tells Peter about it, and Peter assumes that it is interference from the South Korean spacecraft, which is also en route to the Chopra Cloud. He then makes up an excuse that Lenka has gone to her mother's house and will be back in a few days. Next, Jakub is sleeping when he hears noises coming from somewhere in the ship. He finds the door to the food storage compartment open, and the food items are floating out in the open. Confused, he cleans the compartment up, and just then, the toilet starts making noises again. He arrives at the toilet, but is shocked to see a massive spider-like creature there. The creature says that the noise of the toilet lured him to the ship, but Jakub is too freaked out to comprehend that the creature is speaking to him. He closes the toilet door and asks Peter to pull up the secret camera he knows they put in there. Peter says that camera was one of the first to stop working. Jakub opens the door to check if the creature is still there, and it is. The creature is very polite and says that it did not mean to frighten Jakub, but it's a little too late for that. Jakub rushes to the airlock, puts on a suit, and tells Peter to decontaminate the whole ship. Peter is confused as to why Jakub would request this, and Jakub lies that he's just been getting some strange readings and doesn't want to take a risk at such a crucial point during the mission. Peter approves spraying the decontaminant all over the ship. While this is going on, Peter says that he is concerned about Jakub's mental health, and he can have a psychiatrist come in and talk to him. Jakub insists that he is fine. The decontaminant is sucked out, and Jakub steps out of the airlock to check if the creature is still there. For a moment, it seems that the creature is gone, but then it appears from above. The creature says that it can sense Jakub's fear, but he does not need to be afraid, as the creature will neither consume nor contaminate him. It then says that it knows Jakub is questioning his senses right now, but all of this is real. Jakub tries to touch the creature, but the creature says that in his tribe, touching is not allowed. They maintain the sanctity of their bodies quite strictly. Jakub asks the creature why he is here, and he replies that he is an explorer, just like Jakub. He was passing by the outer edges of the solar system when he felt the pull of human life on Earth. He came to Earth and studied humans, their history, and their languages, but couldn't understand them. Then, he found this vessel, and Jakub's loneliness intrigued him. He believes that he may be able to help Jakub. Still unsure of whether he is hallucinating or not, Jakub decides to get some sleep. He dreams about Lenka, but when he wakes up, he continues to have visions about his fights with her. She is trying to talk to him about the problems in their relationship, but he is acting withdrawn. Jakub isn't sure how he is having these visions, but then he sees the spider. He asks the spider if this is his doing, and the spider replies that he is trying to help Jakub process his emotions using his telepathic abilities. It seems that Jakub's mate is withdrawing from him, and he is attempting to lessen Jakub's solitude. Jakub sternly tells the spider to stay out of his head. He doesn't need help. Next, the spider repeatedly tries to make conversation with Jakub, but he continually shuts him out. The spider asks if Jakub has any eggs on board because he's heard humans speak highly of them and wants to try them. Jakub doesn't have any eggs, but he offers the spider some hazelnut spread. The spider tastes it and says that it reminds him of a type of larva that he used to eat back home. Jakub asks where home is for the spider, but the spider replies that his home was destroyed, and he has been wandering the universe ever since, searching for solace. Meanwhile on Earth, Tuma is en route to see Lenka and talk to her. Back on the ship, the spider stares at the Chopra cloud and tells Jakub that it holds much wisdom. He says that grains of the cloud once landed on his tongue when he was young, and he knows that they come from the beginning of the universe. Jakub is shocked. He asks the spider how old he is, if he was there at the beginning of the universe, and if his kind even die. The spider cryptically replies that everything that begins must one day end. Jakub says the cloud is pulling them in and asks if the spider knows what's inside it. He cryptically replies, "The beginning." Next, the spider makes Jakub relive a memory where Lenka sneaks into a swimming pool with him. She makes him promise that he must go where she takes him, and in return she will go wherever he takes her. He agrees. In the present, the spider asks why he would make a promise which is so easily broken. As the memory continues, the spider asks Jakub why he only yearns for Lenka when she is not here. Where is that yearning when she is present? Jakub asks if the spider is placing these thoughts in his head, and the spider says that he is not. He is just discovering them with him. Jakub says that he does not wish to do this anymore, and the spider is curious as to why he is resisting this exploration. Next, the spider says that exploring Jakub's emotions for Lenka is stirring something strange inside him. He figures out that this is what humans call depression. He also figures out that eating copious amounts of the hazelnut spread helps to deal with it. First contact with aliens and right away we teach them addiction. Sounds about right. On Earth, Lenka discusses the prospect of raising her daughter all by herself with her mother. Her mother asks what she will tell her daughter about her father. Lenka replies that she will tell her the truth. She fell in love with her father for his ambition and drive, but she was wrong to do so. Next, Jakub asks the spider if he has a name, and when he replies that he doesn't, Jakub names him Hannes. Jakub visits another loving memory with Lenka, where Lenka asks him if he always wanted to be an astronaut. He says he was supposed to raise pigs on his father's farm, but when his father died, he started dreaming bigger. The two proceed to share a passionate time. In the present, Hannes comments that there was so much love between them and asks where it went. Jakub begs him to stop doing this, but Hannes says they must persist. Later, Hannes and Jakub also visit a memory in which Jakub watches his father slaughtering a pig. Next, Hannes asks Jakub about his father. Jakub reveals that his father was killed because he was an informant of the Communist Party. He adds that his father wasn't a bad person, just on the wrong side of history. Hannes deduces that Jakub has undertaken this mission because he thinks it will atone for the sins of his late father. He advises Jakub to focus on the living. Tuma arrives to see Lenka and convinces her to hold off her leaving Jakub until he is back on Earth. Lenka insists that Jakub is fine being on his own, but Tuma reveals that he is not doing too well. Lenka is a little surprised, but she insists that she must do this to protect her sanity. Tuma leaves, but she makes it clear that she will not transmit her message to Jakub. Her job is to protect him. Next, Jakub hears Lenka on the ship and sees that she is on the Czech Connect. However, it is an old conversation. He doesn't understand how it is playing because the machine is off, but then a single purple particle emerges from it. Hannes says that it is a grain from the cloud. Jakub tries to capture it, but he learns that it cannot be held. He tries to contact Mission Control and tell them this, but is unable to establish any sort of communication with them. More particles enter the ship, and when Jakub follows them, he discovers that they are heading to a part of the cloud where a light is flashing. He asks Hannes if he should be worried, and Hannes replies that he shouldn't. However, he cannot describe what they are about to experience because there are no words for it in human languages. Next, Hannes discovers through Jakub's memories that Lenka was pregnant once before and had a miscarriage. Jakub wasn't there at the time and wasn't even supportive of Lenka over the phone. Now again, Lenka is pregnant and Jakub isn't there. Hannes asks why he does this. Does the pain it brings hold value for him? Jakub has no answer as usual. After a few days of tinkering, Jakub manages to establish contact with Mission Control, but Hannes cuts it short. He cannot understand why Jakub is still focused on the mission when they are so close to solving what's in his mind and heart. He finds the memory of when Jakub was about to leave for this mission and promised a sobbing Lenka that they'll make it work. He finds another memory where he is telling Lenka that this is the last time and ignoring her when she asks if he's worried about the negative effect of all the time they spend apart. Hannes deduces that Jakub knows his wife is aware of his lies and false promises and turns a blind eye to it. He knew that she would soon lose faith in him. He only seeks a connection with her when it serves him. His loneliness and pain is self-inflicted. Hannes declares that he has lost interest in Jakub and he will be leaving now. Jakub begs him to stay, claiming that he needs him. He tries to touch Hannes, which angers him. Hannes tells him that he needs to go back home with a different discovery than the one he is currently seeking. He leaves. Alone again, Jakub drinks to drown his pain for a while, but then he decides to take a step. He calls Peter and tells him to get him in touch with Lenka. Lenka is not willing to speak to Jakub, but Peter informs her that he just wants her to listen. Jakub lays out a huge apology and says that he doesn't deserve Lenka. He's lived his life for all the wrong reasons, and if he could do it all again, he would do it very differently. He wants nothing more than to come home right now. Both of them cry, and Jakub cuts the call. Afterward, Jakub still feels Hannes poking around in his head and calls out to him. Hannes says that Jakub has purged, and now he needs to rest. Jakub asks Hannes to never leave him again. Hannes admits that he lied to Jakub about something. He left his planet to escape the plague that killed his kind, but he did not escape in time. He is sick and dying. Jakub hugs him, and Hannes says that he will not let Jakub face the beginning alone. The next day they arrive at the cloud, and Jakub attempts sample collection as directed by Mission Control, even though he knows it will be futile. During the procedure, something happens to Hannes, and he floats out into space along with particles of the cloud. Jakub rushes out to save him, but he ends up severing all contact with his ship and getting stranded in the cloud. Hannes thanks him for his bravery, but Jakub says that he knows this is the end for both of them. Hannes tells him this is not the end. This is the beginning. He grabs Jakub's hand and takes him into the heart of the cloud. Jakub is shocked at what he sees. Every single moment of his life is being played out all around him. Hannes says that all vibrations of time exist here all at once. Every heartbreak, every broken promise, and every atonement is all here, which is why there is no hurt. There is only the truth of the universe, amongst all of time. Jakub finds the moment that he first saw Lenka. He says that he knew then he only wanted good things for her, but he regrets not seeing her again the way he saw her the first time. Finally, they arrive in front of a blinking light, and Hannes says that this is the end of his journey, but not Jakub's. He can hear Lenka calling to him. Jakub bids farewell to Hannes and thanks him for everything. He watches as the disease takes over his body. On Earth, a single particle from the Chopra cloud arrives in front of Lenka, and she and Jakub both see a shared vision of the two of them. Lenka realizes that Jakub is connected to her and smiles. In space, the blinking lights are revealed to be of the South Korean mission, who rescue Jakub. Sometime later, Jakub calls Lenka and says that if he knew then what he knows now, he would have never left home. Lenka wonders that if she knew then what she knows now, would she have kissed him? Jakub asks, would she? She smiles and replies that she would. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.